We are here with our first game of the day, Nicov versus TaToH here on Baltic. And I'm going to be joined by Killer B for this one, and looking forward to a great day of Age of Empires out here.
Yeah, me as well. Thanks for having me on for game number one. We've got a Magyar's mirror here between TaToH and Nicov. And since this is game one, just let me say quickly, TaToH might be the best player for us to learn the meta of HD from. So it's going to be great to see him. And Nicov chooses some of the best battles, in my opinion, of any player in Age of Empires. So I think it's going to be a great matchup. Lots to learn for the viewers, and hopefully it will be a great show.
Yeah, I think Nicov, possibly on paper, is going to be the more technical kind of player. I guess he's going to be stronger in terms of micro, I would imagine, things in that kind of respect. TaToH, though, definitely more experienced with the expansions and definitely like a strategical mastermind, if you could put it that way. And we really see, players like TaToH and the Viper trying to come up with new things with the expansions. And, that's something that we saw Viper doing specifically last week. And one of the things that comes to my mind immediately is that Dark Age transport ship on a water map to go and drop your scout to the other side and try and kill your opponent's dock building villager. So it's pretty cool to see how things develop and how these players try and sort of shape a meta game, I suppose, for these new civs. Pretty cool. We actually do have TaToH in the blue down to the south of the map, playing as the Magyars, as we said, and Nikov's in the green to the north out here.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting matchup with Magyars. This is not a civ that it's not a civ that we're going to see players pick a lot, but I think game one is maybe a blind random and it's a mirror. So we're going to see a war on Baltic here. What's important to note about the Magyars? They do not have heavy demo ships. TaToH loves to build demos, but he won't be able to build heavy demos here. Let's see. Free melee damage upgrades may not come into play in this one. We'll wait and see. No gunpowder, no siege ram, no siege onager. Just some things to keep in mind for you guys who are out there still getting used to the new expansions. Also of note, the water here is shaped just like the state of New Hampshire. For those Americans out there, that's my home state. It's beautiful.
Oh, well, there you go. I had no idea, but there you go. So, this map very much going to be focused around the water, that's for sure. And the Magyars don't have anything, particularly striking for the water. As long as they have the fire galleys, which I believe they do, then they're going to be okay. But they don't have any, water bonuses to speak of. They're much more of a land-based civ in terms of where their bonuses and abilities lie. But right now we're going to see both players doing their pretty standard build-up here. Both players with their scouts currently at their own TCs. If you have a look at the scouting of both players, neither player has really gone out across the map. We see Nicov pushing in the deer. We see TaToH still scouting around. And I think he was actually looking for a second boar, which he's just found behind this wood line there. And it's a good job he did find that, because having a delayed second boar would definitely set him back a little bit. So he's found it now, and he's going to move out across to the right side. Now, of course, Baltic generally ends up being mostly about the water, just because these flanks are so easy to wall off. I guess it's not even so much that the flanks are that easy to wall off. It's more that the distance to travel is very high, and the water is always worth fighting for in the early game due to the fish. So both players right now getting that first dock up. And we're going to see the first fishing ships coming out as well.
Yeah, not surprisingly, a dead heat of a game at the moment. I don't have the overlay, but I can tell you that the micro and villager counts here are going to be pretty much dead even, pretty much perfectly on time for a great Dark Age. These guys will be clicking up. And going into water, TaToH is going the long way around the map with his scout. He will find a few extra sheep in so doing. And that little bit of resource could actually be a really big difference. It looks like he's found 4 extra sheep, or he will find 4 extra sheep while circling around the pond. Nicov has decided to go toward TaToH's base with his scout, and he might be looking to lame a villager if he can. At this point in the game, no loom for the blue player TaToH, no loom for Nicov either. So there's still some time to do some laming here, but I don't foresee that happening. TaToH's boars are already in, and his villagers are really safe on the woodline.
Yeah, absolutely. And right now, actually, TaToH actually a little ahead in villagers. He's just getting loom right now. We see Nicov getting loom as well, and TaToH was just slightly ahead in his dark age, I believe. And with the scout coming around, grabbing the 4 sheep, even I think in total, that's definitely something. Oh no, he actually only found 2 in the end. The other 2 still undiscovered, but he will find the extra sheep and bring them back, and that's a nice thing. But actually, saying that, Nicov, with his scout in the south of the map, will actually pick up 2 of those sheep which were returning to TaToH's base, denying him the extra food from them, and actually sending them back to his side now. So this is actually a really, not a huge thing, but having those additional sheep when you get to the feudal age is really nice. Having them stationed under the TC, meaning that you can delay having to build your mill a little bit and all that good stuff. So let's see, 3 villagers going out to gold for TaToH right now. We've got, 5 villagers going out to gold for Nicov. So Nicov going a lot heavier onto the gold, although saying that TaToH just brought the 4th villager over. But with those extra villagers going out to gold, we are going to be expecting to see fire galleys, that's for sure, as TaToH comes in here with his scout to try and harass this dock building villager.
Yeah, it looks like Nicov will win the sheep battle, so a little advantage for him early, like you said. Second dock coming up for both players. Both players have palisaded in the villager who is building that second dock, so keeping that vill safe from laming. Even delaying that vill by 10 seconds can actually be a really meaningful thing. So putting those palisades up is really worth it. Both guys, like you said, are going up, and they're going to start queuing immediately some navy. But as you said, main difference, 5 vills on gold for Nicov, 4 for TaToH. We do have the uptime coming right now. We are seeing double dock fire galley for Nicov. And on TaToH's side, we are seeing 1 fire galley, 2 fire galleys as well.
Yeah, both players going straight into fires. TaToH did only make 3 fishing ships, so in theory he should be able to get his 3rd dock up a little bit sooner, perhaps. And right now, we're going to see those first fire galleys coming out. And the water metagame has really changed a lot in these expansions with the addition of the fire ship. And I think it's it's shifted the meta quite a bit. But it still actually ends up being quite predictable in the end, because now fire galleys are just so good that you kind of have no choice but to make them.
Yeah, Nikov's going to queue a demo raft here pretty early. We've seen a couple players do that. I don't think we've seen a ton of players succeed with an early demo, but we'll see how that goes. First couple ships coming in for TaToH. He's going to be 2v1 on one side, going to try to sneak in a second ship to the fish, but it's not quite going to work yet. And yeah, keep an eye on Nikov's demo raft coming out.
Yeah, the thing with the demolition raft is you put some pressure on yourself to do damage with it. It has to hit 2 or more ships in order for it to really make itself worthwhile. Otherwise, you end up losing presence on the water. TaToH's actually going back to repair his ship up now, which is a nice little move as Nikov's scout comes in. But interestingly, so far, TaToH hasn't...
Oh, the demo raft.
Oh, whoa. That was beautiful. That was perfect. I think I'm a little behind you. I'm going to speed up slightly, but that was fantastic. 3 galleys, definitely, or 5 galleys, I should say, definitely a valuable use of the demo, but not if TaToH repairs the ship. And right now, Nikov's not following that up with anything, so he's done all this damage, and TaToH's just going to repair it, so no biggie for him. But, as I was about to say before, TaToH hasn't built his 3rd dock yet, and he's spending villager time repairing the ships, whilst Nicov is just outproducing him at the moment.
Yeah, TaToH is falling behind on docks a bit. Just to let you know, I'm at 13:06, so we can sync up in time. Okay, sorry about that. Got ahead of you. But yeah, that repairing, I guess, is not going to... The demo isn't going to sink ships, and it's not going to give a huge naval advantage based on killing ships. But like you said, that 1 villager who should be out there building a dock has been repairing for quite some time. Another demo ship coming in now from Nicov gets a little splash damage on a couple of ships. And it looks like, to me, I don't have this lovely overlay, but it looks like Nikov's doing pretty well.
Yeah, absolutely. Nicov right now is ahead by 4 population at this stage. He also does have a few fires out. We've got TaToH moving towards the fishing ships with 1 demolition raft. He's got another one to the sidelines. But once again, I mean, this is really reminiscent of the game versus Backed, where TaToH doesn't seem all that interested in actually winning the water. If you want to win the water, you add your 3rd dock, and you don't make mass demos because they don't give you any, like I say, lasting presence. What we're actually seeing right now is TaToH kind of suiciding the demolition rafts, trying to kill the fishing ships, and then leaving it at that. He's not actually contesting the water that hard at all. He's falling back, making a market right now, and he's going to just give up the water here and wall it off. And it's weird because we did see him do exactly the same thing in the game versus Backed on Team Islands last week, and it's still very it's a perplexing decision to me, as I think it's definitely a risky one at that.
Yeah, it's a really interesting set of circumstances. It's really just demo rafts right now for TaToH, who sent his scout the long way around the map again, maybe making sure that his opponent is still open on the far side. TaToH's closing one of his flanks, and he seems to be scouting on the other flank. So I would expect if he's going to make a land-based push for it to be on the long side of the lake here. But I suppose that remains to be seen. Nicov is stonewalling the short side at the moment. He's going to be adding in some protection there. But yeah, TaToH here with a pretty non-standard strategy.
Yeah, Nicov taking the precaution to wall it up. He's actually going to kill the scout from TaToH on his gold there as well. But taking the precaution to wall this up on the left side in case TaToH does come in with a landing, since it's pretty evident that TaToH isn't going to be contesting the water here, as TaToH now just clicks up to the Castle Age. And I think this is kind of evident that he was going to do this when he researched Horse Collar immediately in the Feudal Age. We did see Nicov getting that a lot later because Nicov seeded his farms a lot later as well. And Nicov now going to be able to, I guess if he wants to, he can start making some more fish, but he's actually building a transport ship at the moment. So it looks like Nikov's going to get on the counter-offensive. Could be very, very valuable to do this, as he needs to, I guess, strike quickly and hurt TaToH's economy quickly before he reaches the Castle Age, if he can. If TaToH's able to reach Castle and throw down some extra TCs, he's going to be able to keep his eco relatively safe, and that could be, again, a problem for Nicov. People in the chat asking about the value thing on the overlay. The value gives you the total value of the army in terms of resources. So if it, let's say a unit costs 10 wood and 10 gold, the value is 20, and the percentage is the percentage of that value which is gold in cost. So if it was 10 wood and 10 gold, the value would be 20 and the percentage would be 50, because 50% of the total is a gold value. And I think this is actually a really interesting statistic, because in the late game, if someone's got 100 skirmishers, the value is going to be pretty low compared to someone with 100 cavalier, let's say. And then you're going to be able to say, okay, well, they've both got 100 units, but the person with the cavalier clearly has a much more valuable army in terms of what they have. And also you can see the gold percentage cost or value of that army, and then determine as well how valuable it is in terms of that gold investment. So TaToH's about to hit Castle now. There he is. And what's his plan going to be?
Well, what's interesting here, is that TaToH is redocking the bottom corner of the map. He's got 2 docks coming up as we speak. Nicov hasn't scouted that yet. Nicov will come across with 5 archers for now and land his opponent and start to harass. TaToH, who we might have thought would drop 3 TCs and boom, might do that, but we have to keep an eye on that bottom corner of the map and see if he tries to reestablish himself. Second TC coming for the moment for TaToH, but that is it. No, third TC coming as well. My apologies. And those 2 docks seem to be somewhat busy with cranking out a couple more fire galleys, which are now fire ships.
Nikov's coming in with the archers. Perfect timing for Nicov. He doesn't have fletching, but he's going to be able to disrupt the construction of the second town center from TaToH here. And, you know, he might kill a villager or 2. If he doesn't kill a villager, it's not too much of a big deal. He will find at least 1. But this TC is going to be delayed. He's going to be able to disrupt the wood line as well. And this is exactly what Nicov was looking for out here, getting into TaToH's economy, disrupting him. And TaToH doesn't have a barracks. He really has no way to deal with these archers right now, aside from putting up a tower perhaps. But he just spent, bear in mind, all of that stone on his TC. And he's also down stone as well, because I believe he sold some in order to get to the Castle Age a little faster. So no tower can come up for TaToH here either. So he's completely defenseless. He will actually build a siege workshop, so he will be able to get a siege, or mangonel out, but
big moment on the water.
Oh, what's happening over there?
TaToH chasing the transport with his demo. Transport has a couple of vills in it from Nicov. Oh, he's not going to get the kill there. I thought we were going to see a ship full of villagers sink, but looks like they'll make it across, so Nicov will land his opponent.
Yeah, Nikov's about to hit the castle age in 25 seconds as well, so these villagers coming in, and you're right about that on the water. That could have been huge if he sunk this transport ship. He will at least see it coming, but Nicov already has the archers here, and now he's completed fletching as well, so he will be able to keep his villagers safe and get a stable up. And this is actually an interesting choice, because TaToH making the siege now is going to be quite susceptible to a couple of knights coming in and taking down those siege weapons very quickly. We actually got Scorpion from TaToH here, which is going to be actually able to do the trick for the time being, I think.
Yeah, 2 Scorpions out for TaToH, which is awesome to see. Gotta love the Scorpion from time to time. I don't have the overlay like you do, but quite a few villagers dying here, and that's going to give Nicov a chance to have a similar villager count, I would expect, at this point in the game, even though TaToH was up first and has more TCs earlier. Siege Workshop stable down for the green player Nicov, and he should be able to deal with Scorpions because he's starting to pump out Knights, as you expected.
Yeah, absolutely. Nicov going to need to be quick with this, though, because TaToH is starting to wall up here with these three villagers, and these knights, they might be very strong versus a couple of Scorpions, but they're not going to be battering down a wall anytime soon. It's going to take him a while to get through there. But I mean, if he does build a mangonel, which he can at least pressure the TC from over the wall, so that's very nice as well. Right now we can see actually that Nicov is ahead by 8 villagers. Obviously he did kill a couple of vills from TaToH, and he is also up on the 2nd and 3rd TCs on the way. So he's actually looking very solid at the moment. Nicov also still has the water control, and once we saw TaToH going up to the castle age, he researched war galley straight away so he could get the fires, but really the focus has shifted to defending himself on the land for the time being, and that puts Nicov in a very powerful position in this game.
Yeah, like you said, Nicov taking the initiative. Once you win the water, some players, lots of pro players, would say that you should land archers, and Nicov is doing just that. He's starting to put some pressure on the easternmost TC of TaToH with a mangonel. TaToH will try to sneak a mango in, but importantly, there's an outpost here from Nicov. You'll see a lot of really good players do this. You can see your opponent's mangonel coming because you have your outpost there. That way you don't get your own mangonel snuck up on.
Yeah, not only that, but he researched Town Watch as well, just to really highlight the importance of that outpost there. Really nice decision from Nicov to do that, and actually will be worth it because he will trade off the mangonel for free, using his own villager now to come over and basically repair that mangonel up. So, I mean, absolutely great play from Nicov to do that there. We've got the typical kind of defensive monks from TaToH coming up here, but, I'm looking at TaToH's wood line in the north, for example, and it just looks messy. He's got a lot of idle vills up this way. They're all bumping into each other. It's really inefficient, and for the time being, Nicov, it looks like he's going to safely take down this TC, and it will get a monk as well. This is just so good for Nicov at the moment, and TaToH's really going to struggle holding against this when he's got his back against the wall.
Yeah, TaToH's in a really tough spot. This TC looks like it will go down. As we speak, actually, it should drop. And we will see 3 mangonels there, uncontested. A couple knights should be deterred by a few monks from TaToH. But at the moment, there's not a whole lot of bright linings to this cloud. TaToH's behind on villagers, I believe you said before. His economy isn't as efficient because vills are kind of bumping in the corner. And it seems like militarily he's on the defensive as well.
Absolutely. I mean, he's outnumbered 4-1 in terms of mangonels right now, and this outpost is so valuable to Nicov. It's just, I can't stress that enough. He's able to see exactly when the mangonel from TaToH is coming in, and he's able to out-micro it 9 times out of 10 if he's paying attention. So, this is just a great play by Nicov as he pushes in. Although he did just kill his own mangonel with it. I mean, okay, not paying 100% attention, clearly. But right now, he's 12 villagers ahead. TaToH does have a 2nd TC up in the back, and he is building another 3rd TC behind this as well. But the pressure is on now as the hole in the wall is opened up. And Nikov's even adding in a scout cavalry, which will unfortunately be converted for him. But might add some more scouts in here to deal with the monks from TaToH.
Yeah, TaToH's going to add another TC on the north of the map, kind of building away from Nikov's aggression. But of course, lots of resources and villagers going down, trying to keep that previous TC going. Knights running in from the green player Nicov to grab down the mangoes. And TaToH will give the GG here. Pretty nice, pretty much rail-to-rail win there from Nicov.
Yeah, and again, I mean, this is the thing that I was really questioning once again with TaToH only doing the 2 docks and really not putting so much emphasis on the water. He did this against Bact, and it worked because Bact didn't land him and didn't contest him on the land. This time around, Nicov, I think, really punishing TaToH for not investing heavily into the water here, sending the transport ship very quickly, sending the 5 archers very quickly, and as a result, TaToH ended up losing quite a lot of eco in the early game, falling behind very quickly, and Nicov was able to follow it up with some standard sort of, mangonels and monks combination, which is very, very strong in this situation. We also saw as well TaToH in the end there behind by 17 villagers, which is a huge advantage for Nicov to take, considering he was being pretty aggressive here as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Great game in game number 1. I guess we'll go into game number 2 with Nicov leading 1-0.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to come out and see if the overlay has been updated here. There we go. It's been fixed. So as you can see, Baltic has now been updated on the overlay, and our second map will be Team Islands. And here we go into our second game, and I do need to actually update the scoreboard. It is currently 1-0 to Nicov after getting his win in the first game here in their 3-game series. We're here with the home map of TaToH now, which is going to be Team Islands, which, as we just said, is quite interesting due to the fact he lost on Baltic just a moment ago. We have TaToH once again in the blue down to the southwest of the map, playing as the Italians here, and Nicov up to the north in the red, playing as the Italians as well. Joining me once again, going to be Killer.
Hey, thanks for having me. Yeah, it's going to be a great matchup here between Nicov and TaToH. As I said in game 1, TaToH may be the best person to learn HD meta from. He didn't really prove it in game number 1, but trust me, it's still true. And we've got Nicov on the other side, who's just really, really great at Age of Empires. And like I said before, really good at picking battles, knows when to engage, and looking forward to seeing him perform in this match once again. It is an Italian's mirror. We'll have cheaper age upgrades, cheaper dock techs, cheaper fishing ships, and cheaper gunpowder. Let's see if probably 3 out of the 4 of those things will come into play here in this game.
Absolutely. They're really made for the water, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see the Italians really being the number 1 go-to civ when it comes to these water maps in future. Obviously, the first game, it was Magyar's, but it was random mirror civs. Second and third game in the series are hidden pick civs, so each player picks their civilization unbeknown to their opponent. So in this case, both players choosing the same civ. It says a lot about their decision and the civ itself. Perhaps Italians a little bit too good on the water. And I mean, you can see why. Cheaper fishing ships, great. Cheaper dock techs, great. It all adds up. Cheaper age up, great, because you want to be super fast to the feudal age so you can start pumping out your boats. But let's talk about the maps a little bit. And I mean, I'm looking at Nikov's island, and it doesn't look the greatest. The gold does seem to be quite accessible from the shoreline here.
Yeah, Nikov's got a couple of gold piles out near the shore, so that could be annoying if he does lose possession of the water. I don't think all in all that it's a terrible map. I think it is still going to come down usually to who gets out the first big punch on the water. But we have seen some really interesting late game landings and some shenanigans. So I wouldn't rule that out so early in the game. TaToH on the other side does have safer resources. They seem to be kind of on the meat of his island. So it is a good point. TaToH's
hello, Killer. You seem to die there.
Oh no.
TaToH, you said something about TaToH is a little bit, and then it was like robot and gone.
Oh no. Okay.
I don't know if that's just me, but I seem to be okay on my end.
Gotcha. Yeah, I don't know what was saying before, but I was saying something very brilliant and interesting. So,
Okay, well, I mean, it's a shame for us. We didn't get to hear it, but next time. So, TaToH here, I mean, my big question right now is, is he going to be going for 2 docks and then this kind of fast castle strategy where he tries to get fires out and retake the water in the Castle Age? Or are we going to see him actually commit to the water fully in the Feudal Age and not take that risk? Interestingly, we already kind of have an answer to that, because down at the south of the map, TaToH building his dock on the back of his island, which is quite unorthodox for the Team Islands map. Normally you see players building it out on the front. You've got better fishing out here. You're going to be closer to your opponent if they also dock on the front, and that allows you to aggress those fishing ships very quickly if you have a faster feudal time. But TaToH deciding to dock on the back tells us quite a lot. It tells us that he's not really looking to win the water in the feudal age or be super aggressive on the water. And maybe this is kind of what he was hoping he could do in the last game, and still do that kind of semi-fast castle strat here.
Yeah, it is really interesting to see TaToH building that back dock. The back of the map isn't as good as for fishing. You can see it's a lot thinner. There's not as many piles of fish. But like you said, it's going to be protected from the early navy of Nicov. Yeah, TaToH here had to have something up his sleeve because he chose this map as his home map. He's got to have a strategy that he thinks can work against Nicov. Nicov is clicked up to the feudal age. He's got every villager pretty much on wood at the moment, just trying to build up his wood count. TaToH is not clicked up yet, and he's got 2 more villagers queued. So TaToH will certainly not be up to the feudal age at nearly the time Nicov will, but he may be able to go quickly to castle.
Yeah, Nicov here with 3 ships on the water as well, so we're fully expecting him to add the 2nd and 3rd dock pretty quickly. But then again, we'll see what he is able to scout, because as soon as he sort of scouts across the front, he's going to very quickly find that TaToH's not docked on the front, and then Nicov should adjust his game plan pretty quickly according to what he sees out there. TaToH right now is still in the Dark Age, 26 population, still building up slowly but surely, 4 fishing ships out on the back. And we're definitely going to see that kind of fast castle style from him. The problem is, I mean, you do... I guess the risk is there. If Nicov is able to get around the back and start denying the docks, for example, that could make it very difficult for TaToH to actually pull this off. He could also recognize very quickly that TaToH's not docked on the front and immediately send over a villager and start landing, for example, and force the fight to go to the land. But we will have to wait and see what Nikov's reaction is, I suppose, now that he's in the feudal age and now that he is queuing up his first fire galleys out here.
Yeah, I think Nicov, before finding that dock, will realize that TaToH isn't up. He'll probably be scratching his head here like, well, maybe TaToH had a slow feudal age. Well, maybe he went for 1 extra vill. Well, and then all of a sudden, I think in a few seconds, he's going to realize something's really wrong here. And he's going to probably try to go up. A couple people in the chat saying TaToH going up fast castle to fires, and he should be able to catch his opponent off guard. But I think Nikov's going to be ready for this after the first few ships. I think he's going to stop queuing more galleys.
Well, I think if there's any civ to do it with, the Italian's definitely a good one. Obviously, with the cheaper age-up costs, you're going to be able to very, very easily get up to the Castle Age as well. You could probably do it on less population quite comfortably. He has actually gone up with 28 population at the moment. But for the time being, Nikov's scouting the front. He's going to see, no docks. He's going to see, TaToH's only just hit feudal. And let's see now, what is Nikov's reaction? He's adding more fire galleys. And I actually think this is probably the right thing to do. Go and find the dock location of TaToH, kill his fish, and actually stop him from building more docks out here, and just try and prevent TaToH for getting those additional docks up, or at least delay them a little bit.
Yeah, Nikov's immediately going to add in a barracks. I think once he identified something was wrong with TaToH's build, he's going to add in a barracks and probably an archery range again, and probably a transport ship again, because I think that's the smartest play from his point of view. You're powering villagers on wood and gold. Archers cost wood and gold, so just get them across the map and start harassing. He's not going to be able to reconfigure his eco fast enough to get to castle real quickly, but he can certainly reconfigure his military to attack TaToH on land.
Yeah, I think TaToH's actually got a very good shot here, to be honest. I do think TaToH is in a good position still. He's got to wait for that Castle Age tech to finish, though, and he's currently on 20%, able to click up very quickly. But once again, is Nicov going to be able to get those units across the map fast enough? In last game, the answer was yes. In this game, well, he's only just started the Archer production, and TaToH will be much faster to the Castle Age as well in comparison to that last game. So I feel like I don't think Nikov's going to get the units across in time. That's my concern, as TaToH hits about 50% now on that Castle Age upgrade.
Yeah, it should be really interesting to see. Nikov's transport ship is 50% of the way built. Nicov has built a demo ship. Not sure what he's planning for, but TaToH's starting to dock on the front. His dock on the back is almost certainly going to survive long enough because there's only one fire galley there from Nicov for now. So yeah, it is. The clock is ticking here. We've got a little suspense. We'll see who's faster and who's able to maybe catch a lucky break. If you get your archers across from Nicov, you might catch a lucky break here.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to want to get a couple more archers across, though, because 2 archers just not going to be enough. But I think he realizes how quickly he's got to do this. He's sending them over now, and I think TaToH will just about... maybe not actually. I don't know if he's going to finish that dock in time. No, he won't. The archers are going to come in. So actually, this is good. The fact that he didn't wait any longer and he sent just 2 archers. Sure, he's not going to be able to do the most damage with that, but already he's denying this dock, and that's a big thing for him. At the moment, Nikov's doing fletching as well, and he'll go back for more archers now. So we're almost seeing like a repeat of the last game. What's TaToH doing differently? Well, he's up a lot faster, but he still isn't really prepared for this landing, and he's still going to end up having a lot of villagers and a lot of his economy harassed by these 2 archers alone here.
TaToH's got a demo garrisoned in his front dock there, which he could get some really nice splash damage on. He's probably waiting to have a fire ship to follow it up. War Galley is queued in TaToH's back dock. So he's going to wait for the right moment and probably take the water pretty swiftly here.
Yeah, he also wants to stop this transport ship as well, sending more archers across. He needs to shut that down before these archer numbers really grow to a point where he can't deal with it anymore. The demolition ship will come out and bring these 3 fire galleys very low. That's enough for his one single fire ship to clean it up. But there's still more archers coming across, and they're still peppering these villagers on the gold with arrows now that fletching is complete for Nicov. But TaToH will safely get a second TC up at the back here, and with just a couple of fire ships, he should be able to retake the water, actually. It doesn't take a huge amount now for him to be able to do this.
Yeah, TaToH did pop that demo ship out and did do a ton of damage to Nikov's 3 fire galleys there. For the moment, though, TaToH not turning to fight with his fire ship, and the transport ship still survives. Somehow that transport ship was maybe just a panel or 2 away from TaToH's fog of war, and it's going to continue to transport archers across, and they are going to continue to harass TaToH, whose resources are not... they're very safe from the water, but of course, these archers getting into the back of the economy as we speak.
Yeah, this time around, though, actually, TaToH's able to get a tower up on that gold, and he started to wall off the south side of his island as well, just as these archers are coming in. So I think TaToH should be able to deal with this. I mean, these 2 archers on the left, villagers on the left, or these 3 villagers on the left, could come under some fire. As the archers come forward, he can't close it in time. Oh, it was so close. Once again, so close. That tower's going to do a reasonable amount of damage, though, with 4 archers here. He's actually going to fight with the Vills. Not the best idea, because with a little bit of micro, those archers are going to come out on top, and that's TaToH once again throwing away some villagers right now, as Nikov's going to pick them off and do what he can here to do as much damage as possible before these archers go down.
Yeah, TaToH did not lure boars with his scout in the early game, so his scout was on full HP, but that isn't enough to get the job done. 3 villagers down and the scout. So really nice timing there from Nicov, who, he just got in there by maybe 5-10 seconds before TaToH would have had him walled out on that flank. So there are 4 archers in. Nicov sending in more. He may leave a couple archers to guard that opening just to make sure that his opponent doesn't finish the walls. but 4 very low HP archers could actually swing the tide of this game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they've already killed a couple of villas already, but just look at the villager difference for Nicov and TaToH now. I mean, Nikov's on 41 villagers, TaToH's on 29, and once again, we've got the defensive Scorpion coming out for TaToH. And the big difference this time around, though, is that Nicov hasn't been able to land any villagers over, so this aggression, once it's gone, he's not got to worry about a follow-up. There's no Castle Age follow-up here in terms of a landing, although TaToH is still losing villagers to these 2 archers somehow. I don't know if he's paying the most attention down here, as really Nikov's giving himself a huge advantage once again.
Yeah, TaToH's up with 2 TCs, 3 docks, fire ships coming on the front. He's going to push at Nicov, and he's going to have a little bit of time before Nikov's ships are upgraded in the Castle Age. We've got a 4th dock coming for TaToH as we speak. Demo ships from TaToH scouting the back, or 1 demo ship scouting the back of Nikov's island.
Oh, I don't believe this. TaToH, please. He's the transport ship's going to come across again, and Nikov's actually going to land 3 more vills over. I can't believe he's let that happen, because TaToH was actually he's already damaged the transport ship. I'm pretty sure one of his fires was attacking the transport ship earlier for a brief second, and he's not killing the transport. I know he's had it in his line of sight quite a bit this game, so it's too late now. Nikov's over, and he's got the siege workshop and the monastery. But TaToH here actually with the Scorpion coming in, and actually I didn't realize that he sent the Scorpion out, but that could actually save his skin a little bit out here.
Yeah, TaToH's got another Scorpion coming from the other side. If he finds Nicov soon, he might be able to catch him. Nicov could delete the monastery. Now he's not going to do it in time. Nicov built a monastery about halfway, and TaToH has found it. So TaToH, at this point, can expect that there are still a few villagers alive on his island. Nicov hits the Castle Age, and he is really under pressure. All of his docks are being attacked by fire ships, and he's not queuing anything inside those docks for the moment. So TaToH here seizing a bit of the initiative.
Yeah, trying to retake the water, absolutely. And I think now he's dealt with the transport, if I'm not mistaken. So if he can kill these 2 villagers on here, wherever they are, there they are. If he can kill these 2, then he's not going to have to worry about more vills. He just has to deal with what's going to come out of this stable, which of course is going to be a knight. This villager, she's going to get taken down by a wolf. And if he can just finish off this vill, that's going to be great. But if this vill survives, then TaToH's going to have a little niggle in the back of his head, because the potential for these villagers to cause havoc is a real problem, and Nicov does survive, so he's going to be able to build the monastery up. He's going to be able to complete a siege workshop now that he's got a knight to deal with any siege that TaToH might throw at him.
What a suspenseful game, that villager surviving by 1 Scorpion shot, while her best friend, maybe her twin sister, getting killed by a wolf on the other side of the map. First couple knights from Nicov coming out, like you said, no upgrades on those. Nicov is clicking Imperial Age, though, really, really early, and he's going to be aggressive coming into the Imperial Age.
Wow, he actually built a university and a monastery back home as well, just so he can get those buildings up. TaToH once again with the monk, going to get 1 conversion on the knight here, and that knight should immediately go for the villager. So Nicov going to quickly wall the villager in. Good play by him. Make sure she survives. Make sure he can complete that siege workshop, get his own monk out, reconvert the knight. But amazingly, yes, Nicov on the way up to the Imperial Age. And I didn't catch that because I was kind of hoping the overlay would show it, but it seems like the overlay is a little bugged, and it hasn't updated or it isn't showing me the upgrade from Nicov coming in. But the fact that he stayed on 1 TC, and the fact that he did this fast imp, might blindside TaToH a little here, as I mean, what do we expect from Nicov once he gets there, though? That's the question. He's going up with 44 population. He's not going to have the biggest economy. I imagine we're just going to see chemistry coming up and the gunpowder coming in, which is something that the Italians also do pretty well.
Yeah, it will be really interesting. Nicov isn't taking stone. Sometimes you take stone, you build a castle, and then you build docks under that castle, and you retake the water. That doesn't seem like his strategy. Nicov could dock the backside of his island, but he would have started doing that already if that was the plan. Chemistry is on the way for him, so that could be indicative of what he's up to. But yeah, Imperial Age coming in here without a whole lot of aggression behind it.
All of this has relied on this one villager surviving, because if he didn't complete the siege workshop, and if he didn't keep this villager alive so that she can build now potentially an archery range or something like that, then this kind of fast Imperial strategy might have ended up biting Nicov, but Nikov's going to get away with it because this one villager will survive. Once chemistry is complete in 40 seconds, he's going to be able to go ahead and get some bombard cannons out. He's just completed Atonement, Redemption, so he can convert the Siege of TaToH, so he can convert the Monks of TaToH. And TaToH definitely in a better position compared to the last game. At least he has his economy standing, and he's got more villagers as well. But Nicov here, gonna find himself getting converted pretty quickly, losing one monk. The monk carrying the relic gets converted as well, and TaToH here coming out on top in this monk war by the looks of things for the time being.
Yeah, TaToH is out with a couple early conversions. Nikov's adding in scouts so that he can resist that conversion a bit longer. Doing a decent job to keep his knight away from those monks, adding in another siege workshop. So Nikov's keeping himself alive and afloat. But TaToH here seems to be starting to push his opponent off the island. However, 2 more monks going down from the blue player. And we'll see how this goes. Micro is actually really important right here for TaToH. He can't lose these units for free.
Yeah, but I think TaToH's done something really good here, actually, by destroying this siege workshop very quickly. He used this ram, he used the mangonel to take the siege workshop down. And so, although Nicov now does have chemistry, he isn't doing anything with it because he doesn't have a building to actually make any units from. TaToH's going to see the siege workshop at the south coming up, and Nicov now finally going to be able to put that to use and start making the bombard cannon, but it's definitely going to be delayed. And in the meantime, you've got TaToH, who is now ahead by 25 vils basically, and that's just going to keep growing as he's got these additional TCs up, and Nikov's still only on the 2 TCs back home. So I mean, this fasting strat, it can work really well if you can catch your opponent off guard, I suppose, and you can steamroll them very quickly. But TaToH's very aware of what's going on. He's adding in some knights right now as well, and if these bombard cannons go down quickly from Nicov, well, he's just throwing the resources in the bin at this point.
Yeah, TaToH with a couple knights, he's going to make a push against the landing of Nicov. Those first 3 knights come out. None of them converted just yet. They can run into the back and get some of Nikov's very expensive bombard cannons. But first, they're going to grab this villager. She may end up dying to the wolf instead of the knights.
Yeah.
Either way is fine for TaToH.
Absolutely. I don't know who she died to, but ultimately TaToH needs to kill the Vil, and he will do just that. He does still have good water control, so he knows that, okay, for now there's not going to be any more transport ships coming out. And I don't know why TaToH's not sent the knights out already to go and destroy or kill these bombard cannons, but he will do that now with knights coming out on the left side. So I think TaToH's dealt with this very, very well, to be honest with you. And Nikov's now, got no villagers left on this landing. He's still making a couple of monks. He's making the odd bombard cannon, but I mean, as far as I'm concerned, this landing is flunked. It's been a failure, and Nicov needs to go to plan B, and that is now to start retaking the water and make sure that TaToH can't land him back.
Yeah, interesting that Nicov chose to dock the front of his islands, because TaToH does still have quite a few ships kind of roaming around on the water. TaToH should find this pretty soon and react to it. But I think it's a last kind of ditch effort from Nicov, who's on 65 pop, while his opponent is on 102. His forward is definitely dying. I don't think he can rescue it, but maybe he can. He's losing some really expensive units like bombard cannons and soon to be a couple of monks. So it's going really poorly for Nicov, but he's going to try to change the game back to a water match. And we'll see if he can do it.
Yeah, fast fire's coming through for Nicov now, as he's going to try and retake the water, just make sure that that TaToH can't strike back. Meanwhile, at the north of the map, I mean, I didn't notice this because, blue blending in with blue on the minimap. TaToH actually fishing like crazy up here. He's got, that's 3, 6, 9, 12, 13 fishing ships up in the north, so really able to capitalize on having that water control, really able to give his economy a really big buff due to that bonus food income. He's also got another 3 fish down in the south as well, so really contributing to TaToH's economy. But it's not going to last long if Nikov's roaming around with fast fires, and TaToH doesn't react quickly here. TaToH does need to get more docks up. He does need to get on the water again now that he's dealt with this, this forward from Nicov, as these fast fires could also be very devastating as they start taking down the first fishing ships in the center of the map here.
Yeah, fast fires from Nicov are, like I was saying, I think they're kind of a last-ditch effort to try to get something going in his direction, but they've caught TaToH a little off guard. He doesn't really have the Navy to deal with this. We'll see if TaToH has time to retech and basically upgrade his Navy. I think he should have plenty of time because he's got a much larger eco and many more docks than Nicov does at the moment. But TaToH taking some stone as well can soon drop a castle, so keep that in mind.
Yeah, but the thing is, I mean, Nicov doesn't need that much eco to make a lot of fires either. He can, bear in mind, in the feudal age, you can support 3-dock production of fire galleys quite comfortably. Now he's in the Imperial Age with 2 TCs, and he's just getting wheelbarrow, which is quite late, but nevertheless, my point remains, he can support fast fire production, since the base cost doesn't change from fire ship or fire galley. He can support that, and since TaToH is still in the castle age and he isn't imperial yet, it's going to be quite difficult for him to rival these fast fire ships.
Yeah, TaToH's going to drop his castle up in the north near where his fish are. He's got 5 or 6 docks in that part of the map. So I think it's a really nice castle location. It looks like it will go up uncontested. TaToH's going to build a couple demo ships and a transport ship on that northern part of the map. So keep that in mind.
Okay, that's good. I mean, he's doing fast fires now as well, so he's going to fight fire with fire. And that transport, as I said before, this is exactly why Nicov very quickly transitioning back into the water here. He doesn't want a counter landing coming through from TaToH. That's something he wants to avoid, absolutely. That castle going up though near the docks is pretty huge. That's definitely going to keep them nice and safe. And for now as well, he will keep the transport ship alive. I want to say alive, but no, it's going to go down. Wow, those fires really hit hard against everything on the water. They're really strong.
Yeah, that's a pretty meaningful thing. Nicov not only seeing that his opponent is trying to attempt a landing, but able to deny it for at least another minute or so. Yeah, the numbers on the water seem to be pretty nicely in Nikov's favor. TaToH does have a lot of docks in the north. He's got 5 or 6 fast docks queuing fast fire ships, and another transport ship is queued up. So we will probably see him try once again to land quite soon.
Yeah, and I like this though. TaToH's actually following this up with Galleon right now. He's actually going to start producing some Galleons here. Obviously the fast fires are great at locking down the water control, taking down docks, for example, but they can't reach inland. And by having the Galleons out, you do get a little bit more reach. You are able to start killing villagers potentially from the shoreline. I mean, imagine if Nicov was to come around the back with some Galleons here, he would kill a lot of these vills inside of TaToH's economy. So actually adding the Galleons in as well is definitely a really good choice. But he's got to be very careful of this landing from TaToH. As we said before, the transport is being re-queued. It's now complete, and I think TaToH is getting ready to send some villagers across. The villager count's actually equalizing a little bit, as TaToH did lose all of those fish, I believe, or most of those fish. So, Nikov's definitely still in this game at the moment, that's for sure. He's got the better military by the looks of things, or the better navy, I would say. And now he's just got to be careful of that landing. But I think it's going to be tough for TaToH to pull a landing off here, as Nicov does have great vision of his island at the moment as well.
Yeah, Nikov's done a really nice job. You see a lot of players doing this. TaToH's done it pretty well too, of building a house here and there just to keep some visibility on every corner of the island that he has. That transport is going to sneak in, sort of. I think it is outside of the view of Nicov for now. So TaToH will get a landing in, and it may not be something that Nicov will be ready. He'll be expecting it, but he might not know exactly where it's coming from.
Yeah, the transport is going around the top as these guys are scuffling on the water at the moment, using that wide stance as well, just in case any demos are in the mix. And I think we're going to see from TaToH barracks here. I think we're going to see probably Condottiero coming up. Wait, did I say that right? Is it Condottiero or Condottiero? I'll check when I see them being made, because I know that that's what TaToH's going to do, because this is like a mirror image of what we saw in the game versus Backed, and these Condottieros Condotieros are extremely strong, and they will very quickly get into Nikov's eco and do a lot of damage since they need so few upgrades to be good. They're condos. We'll just call them condos. How about that? TaToH here as well, engaging on the water. This is a pretty cool fight because we've got galleons in the back for Nicov, but he's simply outnumbered right now as TaToH here is going to be able to push him back. And meanwhile, as he retreats, getting on quite a lot of free damage as well. So this is very good for TaToH, as not only is he winning the water, but this landing at the back doesn't seem like Nikov's prepared for this at all, and Nikov's calling GG right there. Wow, once again, TaToH with that landing with the condos works very well.
Yeah, it was a really nice landing. I was watching that while you were watching the naval fight. TaToH built an outpost right away. He could see Nicov. Nicov couldn't see him at the beginning of that. He built up 3 barracks before Nicov even could have known what was coming. And the Condottiero jumping out here. And GG. So TaToH takes game number 2 and evens the series.
Condottiero. I can say it. I just always forget because I've said it wrong for so long that it's kind of like legitimized the wrong pronunciation in my mind. Definitely a good game from TaToH there, and I think this is something that players need to wise up to. They need to wise up to the TaToH strats because he did this versus Backed, and that's also how he got his victory as well, landing with the barracks at the back and flooding those guys in. And as I said before, the reason why it's so strong is because unlike champions, the champion line, you don't need to upgrade the condos. They you queue them out of the barracks and you don't need to upgrade anything other than the defense upgrade. And they've got 80 health off the bat. They've got 10 attack off the bat. And when they're fully upgraded, they have 5 pierce armor as well, which is great at getting under the TC and raiding. So I feel like TaToH's got a very good game plan when it comes to Team Islands. And I liked Nikov's attempt at the landing, but TaToH did do a very good job at dealing with that as well. And I guess that's a real big key in his strategy, which is to do that fast castle. Does leave himself wide open to a landing attempt.
Yeah, great win from TaToH. This was his home map, and he definitely had a strategy in mind, and he pulled it off. It was a great game. Good to see TaToH strike back and win game number 2. And I guess we'll go into game 3 with to figure out who's got the better part of this series.
Absolutely. We do have game 3 coming up, which will be Arbaia, the home map of Nicov. And here we are, guys, on the stream, in with game number 3 for the TaToH versus Nicov series. It's tied up at 1 point apiece going into this third game as we go to the home map of Nicov here, which is going to be, of course, Arbaia. The question is, what are those civs going to be? And joining me here, and hopefully who's going to tell us what those civs are going to be, Killer B.
Hey, man. Yeah, I can tell you what the civs are. I'm scratching my head a little bit about what they are, but Celts for TaToH, and we are going to see Indians from Nicov. Indians have been played to incredible effect, I would say. As of late in this tournament, they're not unbeaten, but they're doing very well. Very dynamic and pliable civ. Celts is not quite so dynamic of a civ, but we'll see if TaToH can be the one to teach us how to beat Indians on Arbaia. If anybody's going to do it, it's going to be the OG HD Pro TaToH.
Yeah, and I mean, this is the big question right now. I mean, I expected to see the Indians here. I really did. Nicov chose to play the Indians twice in both of his round 1 games. And we saw the Indians, I think, in every single round 1 set as well, at least one time. Obviously, players thinking that the Indians are a very strong civ right now. TaToH, however, I mean, choosing Celts is a really, like you said, a scratch your head kind of moment. Not really sure what the game plan is going into this, but I'm really excited to see what TaToH's got up his sleeve. Of course, we know that potentially the best way to take down the Indians is to be hyper aggressive, attack them early, attack them fast, attack them, quick. Make sure that they can't get to that sort of late game powerhouse death ball. Make sure that they don't get to the point where every villager only costs 40 food instead of 50 when they reach the castle age. Shut them down early, and maybe that is what TaToH is going to be planning on doing here. Interesting though that he's gone for the Celts still.
Yeah, TaToH with 4 vills on wood early may be indicative of a drush. It's not uncommon to drush with Celts, and like you said, it's possible for a Celts player to keep you on the defensive all game if they really push hard, especially up until the mid-castle age or so. TaToH's map is really defensible. He's got a really nice back gold pile. He's got quite a bit of an area that he can wall off pretty easily. Getting to the stone will be a little bit of a challenge, but I think in the end he'll be just fine doing so. Has some close by deer that he can push as well. So I think all in all, TaToH's got as good of a map as you can really ask for on Arabia here. And he should be able to execute whatever strategy he has up his sleeve. He should be able to do it.
His gold's okay at the back. Obviously, it should be safe back there. I mean, the only thing that I don't like about his map is the wood, really. He's got to take wood out on the left side, and he's actually built his first lumber camp on the front on this kind of forward woodland. And fortunately, he can actually wall up between the woodland and the cliff side, so he should be able to keep this area of his base quite safe with a few more houses out here as well. And he's going to do that very quickly, recognizing that this is probably the most dangerous area of the map for him to be taking wood right now. He could reasonably take wood anyway. So yeah, meanwhile, taking a look at Nicov's map. He does have a backwood, which is pretty good for him. His stone is, well, actually, look at this left side of his base. His main gold, second gold, and stone pile out here, all quite close together. So this left side is going to be quite important to him. And meanwhile, at the front of his base, well, on the right side, it's extremely open. Left side does look like he could be able to close this up a little bit more. But for the time being, as we said, the 4 villagers on the wood for TaToH. Don't forget the Celts have faster wood gathering as well. We're expecting to see that barracks coming up for him in a moment.
Yeah, I think Nikov's map, like you said, one really interesting part of it is that both of his golds are clustered together along with the secondary stone to the left of his TC. If you're TaToH and you're thinking about getting aggressive with early maybe men-at-arms or towers or anything of that sort, this would be a great spot of the map to take advantage of. That would leave Nicov taking gold basically nowhere. He needs those gold piles.
Exactly, because his other gold is way at the front, and I think this could be a good area for TaToH to abuse in the early game. Plus the fact that he's got the hill back here, which if he can build a tower, he would also be on the wood line as well. But we'll see if he's planning on getting that aggressive, because right now, I would have expected to see that barracks coming up, but we're already at 7 minutes, and the barracks still isn't being constructed just yet. I think he's going to build it about now, but this is definitely going to be, if anything, man-at-arms from TaToH here, if he's planning on using this barracks to get aggressive, that is. Because 6 minutes 30 or just under is your kind of drush timing. This is definitely not going to be that, as he does loom and will click up to the feudal age before producing anything. Meanwhile, Nicov, on the other hand, feudal age already coming in on 20 population, and of course you can do that as the Indians because your villagers are cheaper as well. And I think we're going to see man-at-arms from TaToH here, absolutely, as he sends 2 villagers out to the mining camp right now.
Yeah, Nicov is going to be in time to scout that barracks coming up. I think he could probably suspect what's going on here, especially with TaToH's score. TaToH, in the meantime, has done some really nice scouting, and he has found that area that I was saying might be really interesting. That might be the hot corner of the map, even though it's in the middle of the map. TaToH has found it already.
Yeah, we've got Nicov moving over 3 villagers to the gold here. And I wonder if Nikov's going to go straight into archers, perhaps. Actually, it's pretty common to see the Indians doing a scout rush, but with 3 vills already on gold, unless he's planning on going man-at-arms as well, then maybe we'll see a range coming up and go straight into archers here. Let's see. It's got to be, surely. Yeah, it's got to be the archery range. Otherwise, he would have built the barracks a lot sooner if he was planning man-at-arms.
Yeah, Nicov getting a ton of damage on to TaToH's scout, so that's going to slow TaToH down a little bit. Would have been nice to have that scout on high HP. Nicov was able to get on a hill, and TaToH kind of stood and fought him for quite a while, trying to sneak up and snipe the red scout with those couple of militia that are out. Feudal age for TaToH will be in a moment. And like you said, 2 vills on gold suggest men-at-arms. By the time those men-at-arms die, TaToH could foreseeably wall his entire side of the map in really safely.
Yeah, but again, I question whether that's what you want to do versus the Indians here. Just, the economy bonus of the Indians is so huge, and the fact that the Indians can kind of defend against almost anything. It's a risky position to put yourself in, as those men-at-arms are coming forward. Militia are coming forward, and the men-at-arms tech is done in 10 seconds. Nicov here straight into archers, though, off of 20 population. I feel like this is a civ that Nicov really likes, just for that early game eco, and the ability to go 20 pop into double archery range production is quite formidable. And also, obviously, a great natural counter to the men-at-arms as well. He's already got 2 archers out by the time TaToH makes it across with the men-at-arms, and Nikov's able to put up a quick defense. So I think TaToH here, he is going to wall up, and you can see he's doing that right away with the stone walls even in the center. And he's just going to give this early game to Nicov here.
Yeah, TaToH is also stonewalling up parts of the map that were already walled, so he is really, really thinking about booming. Like you said, aggression, I'm with you on this. I think aggression would be the way to go, but TaToH must have a trick up his sleeve here, because he's going to basically surrender map control to his opponent, Nicov. He's going to surrender these men-at-arms for really cheap. Nicov will give his scout away, which I don't think he needed to do, but in the end, those men-at-arms should go down without harassing the economy at all from Nicov.
Oh, he's done nothing. He's done absolutely nothing to hit to Nikov's eco. He's spending a lot of villager time, a lot of resources walling up back at home here. And he's going to be just building up now slowly but surely towards the castle age. Nicov, on the other hand, he's not got scouting info because he did bring his scout back home. He's going to send his archers across the map and find out very soon that this is going to be fully walled. But Nikov's going to be able to adapt pretty quickly, I feel, because Nicov already, his villagers costing less, will be able to very quickly adapt and get himself up to the castle age with relative ease as well. And, making a few archers here, it's not going to be a huge setback. And still, these men-at-arms haven't really achieved anything for TaToH either.
Yeah, TaToH at the moment will finish up his walls in the north. I'm keeping an eye on that villager to see if he goes to stone. But for now, there's 115 stone in the bank for TaToH, so maybe a 2 TC build. He will have to go and start taking stone if he's going to build more, and if he's going to build woads, of course. But for now, we will keep an eye on Nicov, who's coming across the map with the archers. He's going to find his opponent walled in. Resource-wise, 200 food for Nicov, 150 gold, 400 food, 200 gold for TaToH. So TaToH's out a little bit ahead of Nicov, but probably not in a incredibly meaningful way. I think Nicov will identify this quickly and adjust accordingly.
Exactly, and we'll look right now and see Nicov probably switching into a few more farms very quickly here, making sure to bolster his food economy. He's probably going to start, well, I imagine he'll idle the ranges a little bit as well and get himself towards the castle age. He's going to know that TaToH's walled because he'll click inside and he'll not be able to go through. So right now, Nicov going to have to adapt, but still, I question what TaToH will do when he hits castle then as well. Are you going to go toe-to-toe trying to outboom the Indians? Because I don't think that's something that's really going to work out too well in your favor. But since he's not moved out anything towards stone, it doesn't look like we're going to see a castle coming up or anything like that. It's a little bit mysterious at the moment what the game plan really is for TaToH here.
Like I said, TaToH may be one of the most interesting players in Age of Empires here. He's going to keep us guessing. Market Blacksmith is up for him. Resources are starting to tick up very quickly, and we'll see TaToH click up in just a moment. His men-at-arms are trying to roam around into the back of Nikov's eco, but they're not going to get anything done there either. So at least for now, the men-at-arms not able to do any damage to the economy of Nicov.
Yeah, so let's think about towards the think towards the later stages of the game and sort of army composition that we could come to expect. What we've spoke about so far is that the Indians are great at countering a lot of things. They counter night civs really well thanks to their camels. Their camels actually end up being pretty formidable going toe-to-toe with a lot of units, actually, just in general, thanks to their additional armor and health from the Imperial camel upgrade. They can deal with archers very well, thanks to the Elephant Archer. We saw that in the Nicov versus Slam game, where he was able to beat the Britons with the Indians, with the Elephant Archers. They have great gunpowder in the late game as well, so if TaToH wants to go into something like Woad Raiders, for example, if Nikov's able to keep his economy secure, the additional 1 range on the gunpowder, on the hand cannons, definitely could be something to consider going into. And I just feel like whatever any civ wants to throw at them, I feel like the Indians have an answer. TaToH, though, moving over to stone on the right side. 3 villagers, so it's not going to be a castle, but he will at least recover the stone from the walls to build a second and third TC. But, I mean, what are you thinking, Killer B, here? What are you thinking TaToH's army composition might look like?
Well, there's one interesting thing to note. TaToH is sneaking a villager out of his walls, which is kind of interesting. He's rebuilt that wall, and he's going to send her forward, at least for the moment. So we'll keep an eye on that Vill as she works her way across the map. Yeah, he's not on stone enough to be thinking woads. Of course, with Celts, there's no bloodlines, so you're not going to go deep into cavalry usually, especially since your opponent counters you so hard. You don't get camels. You don't get hand cannons. Your archers aren't very good. Yeah. Your monks aren't very good. They don't have block printing. So I really don't know what the plan is. I feel like it has to be woads and siege, and maybe some trash mixed in there as well. But for now, a stable is coming up in the corner for the blue player TaToH.
Yeah, I think in the late game, he has to incorporate that siege in order to have any chance. But again, I mean, the Indians can quite easily add their bombard cannons and deal with that. So, yeah, it's questionable. I mean, the standard sort of meta, I guess, in the Castle Age for the Celts is more often than not, you'll see crossbows, and then they transition away into woads later, and siege, of course, and halbs. But in this game, I mean, the stable on the right side coming up outside of the walls, he's trying to be sneaky. Nicov, of course, is on the way up to the Castle Age now as well. He's got a way to go yet, but he's going to be walling up on this right side, making sure his base is nice and secure, and for the time being, actually queuing up more archers as well, sending them out across the map, keeping the map control, and trying to see what's going on. But he's not going to see this, which is the 2 stables. It's just very strange. Very strange. I mean, I don't know what these few knights may do, but Nicov here has got quite a few archers inside of his walls, and if he keeps them there and upgrades them to crossbow, the non-bloodlined knights aren't going to be that effective, I feel.
It's a really interesting thing to build those stables outside the walls, because knights are pretty quick. They get across the map pretty fast, and putting those stables maybe, I don't know, half a screen or full screen closer to your opponent might not give you the biggest advantage. So I'm not exactly sure. TaToH must anticipate owning this part of the map as we go through the game. But those first few knights start to come in, and they're going to find that they are already basically walled out of this eco.
Yeah, and Nikov's got his army on the left side of his base, sending it out across the map, but I think he'll have to bring it back as soon as he realizes these knights are out here. TaToH right now coming in with 2 knights at a time, and, well, +1 defense is done, but as we say, no bloodlines here. So without any ranged units to back this up, he is actually adding a monastery, by the way, as well, but without any ranged units to back this up, Nicov can very easily re-wall and repair these walls comfortably. He's doing crossbowmen, bodkin arrows straight away. And this army, actually, he's not coming back at all. I mean, that's kind of confident play from Nicov there. Confident that he can actually keep TaToH out whilst he himself does a counter-attack, dropping a monastery and a siege workshop on the front here.
Yeah, Nicov kept TaToH out there by a whisker. That gate dropped just after Nicov was able to wall. Go ahead. What's on your mind?
No, I didn't realize. I was looking at the forward from Nicov. I was like, oh, wow, that's a close one then, as he's walling this up. But I mean, the question is, who's going to buckle first? I mean, it's almost like, okay, well, TaToH sent everything forward. Well, not everything, but he is building forward. Nikov's building forward as well. Who's going to buckle and send their army back first? It looks like it's going to be Nicov, as he sends a lot of those crossbows back home to deal with these knights. And I think that's a good decision from him, as those knights will start to break down these palisades slowly but surely.
Yeah, Nicov has a much smaller sliver of the map, and he's got mostly palisades. So I think once he identifies that his opponent is pushing on him pretty hard, he's got to go back home. TaToH's got stone walls on parts of his map, and he's a lot safer, although Nicov is pushing on the weakest part of those walls for the moment. Crossbows from Nicov, +2 damage. TaToH's adding in monks and siege, and he's starting to do some good harassment here. I feel like TaToH's in a pretty good position to suppress the Indian economy from growing too big.
Yeah, it's interesting, actually, because Nikov's walled himself into quite a small area. And as you said, I mean, he's got a very small slither of land. or sliver of land, and Nicov at the back has built a second TC, at the moment building that defensive siege workshop. I actually feel like maybe the answer for Nicov could be a couple of camels here, just to deal with the mangonel and the knights, but I guess then he still has to contend with the monks. So sticking with the monks, mangonel and crossbow composition for the time being, and it seems to be working quite well as he does break down a house on the front and sends in 3 mangonels. TaToH's TC coming under fire already, and right now things are hotting up on both sides of the map.
Yeah, it's a really interesting match so far. Both guys are all offense, a little bit of units in defense, a couple crossbowmen for Nicov. Of course, countered pretty hard by the mangonel from TaToH on the front. Oh my God, TaToH gets 2 for 1 mangoes. While I was looking away, he's actually going to get 3 for 1? No, 2 for 1. So really nice defense from TaToH with a single mangonel, able to really hold Nicov off a little bit longer.
Yeah, very nice. Definitely slowing things down there. Trading like that is absolutely key here. And on the other side of the map, you've got Nicov losing another mangonel at home as well to the mangonel of TaToH out here. TaToH's going to send the knights in, disrupt the eco a little bit, but as we've already said, the lack of the bloodlines tech, with only +1 defense, they're going to go down very quickly. But yeah, don't underestimate the strength of that Celts siege, firing faster, giving you the edge in those little micro battles. And now Nikov's kind of lost a bit of momentum on the front, and also losing quite a bit back at home as well. I think TaToH's got him in a good position, to be honest with you.
Yeah, TaToH here seems to be leading this particular dance, and he's doing really nicely with his mangonels. I'm still kind of...
Sorry,
Go ahead.
There was a huge mangonel shot over at this house, and I didn't even realize how big that was, because the house is actually obscuring all the dead bodies. But I think TaToH killed about 10 crossbows out here, or something like that. Really nicely done.
Oh, I missed a big mangonel shot. That's such a bummer. But I'm still enjoying TaToH's mangonel micro. It appears that he chose Celts for this particular reason. There's really nothing else that he's using that is Celt specific. He's using kind of very basic knights, using very basic monks that I don't think he's upgraded at all. And he's just roaming forward with mangonels, making it rain at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. And Nicov here going to have to kind of focus more on defending now, as his aggression was pretty much dealt with very quickly by TaToH there. TaToH going to lose 1 mangonel down here, but we'll be able to get the second one out of harm's way. We'll also lose a monk for free, as Nicov here is able to keep that mangonel doing some work. But yeah, I mean, my big concern right now is that Nikov's 3rd TC was very late in comparison to TaToH's. TaToH's eco is actually looking great, as he actually adds a 4th TC on the front now as well. And I think, yeah, I mean, TaToH here also going to be able to use this knight. Oh, goodness me. If he's able to get a mangonel here for free, well, not for free, but with this knight, that would be pretty nice. But delete his knight there so it doesn't get converted by the monk that's just kind of roamed into range. Lots and lots of siege for both players, and this is where TaToH is going to be pretty comfortable, because, like, as we say, the faster firing, giving him quite a micro edge in this one.
TaToH has been going into stone for a little while, and I'm interested to see where his castle's going to go. He's kept the pressure on Nicov for quite some time. I think woads are going to be a really powerful unit at this point in the game, as they almost always are. He might be able to swamp the map out with them, but I'm interested to see if he'll put that castle near the 2 stables and the monastery. Those are in such an offensive position, and maybe he can aid his push on the other side with a castle on the front, so keep an eye out for that.
Oh, TaToH once again trading really nicely with the mangonels here. He's almost going to get 3 for 1, I feel. Oh no, he's going to lose it. So it's really not too bad at all for TaToH in terms of how the trades are going at the moment. That castle, though, as you quite rightly say, is definitely on the cards for TaToH here. He's got 930 stone in the bank, so that castle should be coming up fairly soon from somewhere. I like the way that TaToH's using his knights as well to get in there and just snipe a couple more mangonels whenever he gets the opportunity. And this TC from Nicov is actually going down pretty quickly here, as these 2 mangonels go ham on the damage. So yeah, right here, TaToH in a very powerful position, and wow, we're not even going to see the castle drop, because it's already GG, as Nicov calls it right there. And I've got to say, that was a really good game from TaToH, and he controlled his units very, very well. I kind of didn't expect it to go this way at all.
Yeah, me either. TaToH, Celts versus Indians just seemed like a really tough matchup. It was hard for us to envision what the unit was that he was going to lean on. Well, the unit that he leaned on there was the Mangonel. He really did micro very nicely, took advantage of the faster Mangonel fire, won a lot of Mangonel micro battles, and in the end, not only defended his larger eco, but was really pushing in on Nicov, about to take down Nikov's initial TC. So really nice, clean win there from TaToH.
He had 24 additional villagers at the end of that game. He had double the military value as well. TaToH there with a lot of Mangonels. And yeah, I just think overall, I mean, the KD kind of tells us quite a lot, because both players, were making very high value units that game. There was a lot of Mangonels, there was a lot of monks, and TaToH had 32 units killed to 21 units lost. So trading very well. And I think that's really impressive, to be honest with you. Obviously, I mean, the thing for Nicov there is that he didn't make any camels. And on the left side, he was actually building 2 stables right at the end of the game. And Nicov, I think maybe he could have added camels a bit earlier. TaToH didn't have that many monks, and the camels would have worked as a natural counter to the knights, and they would have also dealt with the Mangonels very well as well. So I do question that decision from him.
Yeah, Nicov there also had quite a bit of resource in the bank. I don't know if he was saving up to click to imp while his stables went up, but I guess we'll never know. He was just a little bit too slow to get his game together. TaToH put his foot on the pedal pretty early in the Castle Age, and a really nice game from TaToH. Going to take the series 2-1.
Yeah, well played to him, and I think most people would have probably had Nicov down as the better player, but TaToH did play a very good game there in Game 3, and I quite enjoyed the Team Islands game as well. I think he did an interesting strategy for that one as well. Again, I mean, I'm still interested in, why Celts specifically. I mean, the only bonus which I can think which is really going to be benefiting them is that faster firing siege, and I don't know if that was the sole reason why he chose to go for that. So, well played. It's going to be a 2-1 victory to TaToH there, and we're going to have our next set of games coming up very soon. That is going to be Backed versus Tim, and we'll be getting those games underway in about 5 minutes time here.